After almost 3,000 years of invasions and being ruled by someone else other than Egyptian people, the Egyptian government right now is finally Egyptian. And this is giving me a lot of hope that we can finally work on restoring our language, cultural elements, and the identity that we used to have, because we were forced to abandon all of that and let it go when we got invaded. And this isn't the first time that our civilization fell. In the past, it fell a couple of times, but we always were able to bring it back. But this time, it's been so long that we forgot completely. We forgot the language, we forgot our other cultural elements. But there's a lot of chaos right now all over the world, not just here. Our government here is trying to fix the situation, but something that's been broken for 3,000 years isn't going to be easy to fix, especially when they are trying to learn from other nations like the US and Europe, the Western world in general. But even the Western world is in chaos right now, because Westerners are also trying to build a civilization. They have been trying to build a grand civilization for hundreds of years now, but there's a lot of issues there that they are trying to work their way through, that they're trying to work them out. And I wish all of you guys in the Western world the best of luck, and I'm sure you will get through it. Getting back to what I'm talking about, restoring the Kemetan culture and language, but generally the direction that we are trying to fix for is not very clear because of all that chaos. Everyone seems like they're trying to build on broken definitions. There's a lot of things that need to be correctly and clearly redefined to make the way ahead or the road ahead clear. And most of these definitions most of these fundamentals and definitions and ideas and values were broken in the Middle Ages. In the ancient times when we had grand civilizations in the past, one of the biggest is here, the ancient Egyptian one. These civilizations were built on very strong and clearly defined values. Their fundamental pillars were strong, and they were logical. They were clear, strong, and logical. But in the Middle Ages, when those civilizations started to fall, many of those values started losing their meanings and definitions. And that's, I think, when the whole chaos started. For example, here to this day, Egyptians believe that we here are Arabs, and the Arabic language is our native language, which is incorrect. And that our ancestors were called pharaohs, even though the word pharaoh was just the title of one king, one evil king that everyone here hated at the times. Like, the population did not like that king. And that our ancestors worshipped many gods, but they actually didn't only worship one called Ptah, and that all of the others were just representations of natural aspects and elements, like Thut, as you might know him by, or Jehuti, represented knowledge and scholarship and wisdom. He represented that. He wasn't the god of it. And Hur Purkhit, the original pronunciation of whose name we do not know, we're not sure of it, we're only sure of the consonants, he was a great king. And later his first name, Hur, which was changed later by the Greeks and became Horus, became the title given to any other king who does great things and serves the Egyptian population well, like that first great king Hur-Purkhit did. He wasn't a god, he was a great king whose name was used as a title given to every other great king after him. And that all of these imaginary, magical, fantastical stories that were drawn about Osiris and Isis or Isis, you might know her by Isis, Anubis, and all these stories were created not to worship them as gods, but to teach the people lessons of, and to treat some very important resources like the agricultural land as sacred, so people keep being able to like have that as a resource and not ruin it, which will cause the civilization to fall if those natural elements are ruined, like the Nile and again farmlands. Anyway, I'm using these as examples of how there's a lot of things that are not well defined, and that's a huge part of the chaos we're in right now. And one of the major reasons why the way ahead is not clear. And one of the greatest broken pillars of civilization here is the language, because the Arabic language isn't our native language, the Egyptian language is. And the language that directly descended from that is the Coptic language. Even the word itself, Coptic, derived from the ancient name of Egypt, Kemet. And the word Egypt actually came from Egyptus, which what the Greeks called Egypt when they were invading us. So the Coptic language, which was a merge between the ancient Egyptian language and the Greek language, that's the direct descendant of our native language. So all of these are examples on how it's very difficult to build for the future when even the infrastructure of the culture, of the civilization, is very fragmented and, again, not well defined. It's not clear. But that's what brings me back to how I'm optimistic and I'm positive about how we can finally start working on restoring our language and identity. It's not gonna be easy, but I hope we just start, and I will do my best with my videos and other things that I can do to be a little part, a little cog of all of that process. And we can't completely go back to live the same way, but I believe the right way to approach this is to restore what we need, like the language and cultural elements, and merge them with the modernity and evolution of today. And I believe the very first step on that path is to acknowledge that our native language is the Egyptian language, which is, the language that we speak, which we call Ammiya. It's a very fragmented and broken language because it's a collection of remnants of ancient Egyptian language, Greek, Turkish, Arabic, Persian. They invaded us too. Assyrian, yep, they invaded us as well. So it's a very broken language, but it's not Arabic because it has its own grammatical rules. They are different. They have a lot of grammatical differences, and the grammatical rules are what makes or defines the difference between languages. See how I just said define? This is one of the things that needs to be clearly defined or redefined. Because right now we have to study the Arabic language at schools, and because most people believe that the Arabic language is our native language, most people blame the student for not being able to comprehend or understand the Arabic language, especially its grammatical rules. Most people here do not like the Arabic grammatical rules. So from my personal humble point of view, I believe that the very first step that we should do is, as I said, acknowledge that there's a difference, which language is our native, and then start studying the Coptic language in schools, along with the English language, because it's very necessary for the current modern state of the world. It's very important. And the Coptic language will help us understand our identity and our native language more. Even if that's not the language that we end up restoring, because we need to restore the ancient Egyptian language. Maybe not the oldest version of it, but some version of it. That's incredibly important and necessary, because it's a huge part of our identity. It's the main part. And there's of course many other pillars and things that need to be clearly redefined, like the way we used to build houses and buildings in general, because it gets very hot here in Egypt, so we used to use stones and sun-baked clay bricks, and all of these had their logical reasons. Like how they used to build, their walls were very thick and their ceilings were very high. These architectural rules and elements were logically made to deal with the heat and how cold it gets in the winter as well. And they used other rules like how hot air goes up and cold air goes down. They used airflow rules as well. They used a lot of logical reasoning. We don't use those logical rules anymore as well. So all of the grand civilizations of the past and any civilization that is trying to build the right way will build their culture on logical fundamentals that adapt to the natural environment around them. And every one of those grand civilizations used to trade with each other and cooperate and share scientific knowledge and discoveries with each other. And whenever you figure out a way to, like, again, like how the air flows, for example, or how hot air goes up and cold air goes down, and how to deal with the heat, thick walls, blah blah blah, they used to share these things, and then every culture adds its artistic elements to those logical fundamentals. So we build with logical reasoning, and then we draw on the walls the way we draw, our sense of style and art. But the style, the theme is applied to a logical foundation. So yeah, I hope that we start fixing and redefining these broken fundamentals and start restoring and rebuilding our identity and culture. And as I said in the beginning, I hope that I can get to be a part of that. But yeah, that's the most important step right now, is acknowledging that we need to head that way, that we need to redefine this, that we need to fix that. And for me, after many years, I had to drop out of school when I was young. Life is tough, it is what it is. But right now, I'm back in school. I'm in the second grade of the secondary school, which I guess secondary school is the equivalent of high school in the US. And I don't know which faculty or which major I need to get to be able to work on restoring the ancient Egyptian language and culture, but that's the path that I want to tread. So I'll do my best to do my best. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say in this video. I hope we start restoring our language and identity and culture, because I believe we have the chance to do that now. Yeah.